Imagine for a moment the corridors of power within the Football Association. It is quiet, the sound of shuffling papers, a gavel resting on a wooden desk. We are looking at a file that has been open for some time, a file containing dates, match statistics, and financial records. It is a visual that haunts every modern footballer, the investigation dossier. We are not looking at a goal being scored or a tackle being made at the Racecourse ground. We are looking at the digital footprint of a young man's past. Something very strange has been happening behind the closed doors of the regulatory commissions. It involves one of our own. It involves a name that is etched into the recent history of Wrexham AFC. The verdict has finally been handed down. The speculation stops. Now, the numbers have been crunched, the interviews have been conducted, and the decision is final. It is a moment that could have shattered a career, but instead, it paints a picture of a very narrow escape. Hello to you, the heartbeat of the North Wales, the global community of Red Dragons. This is Rodrigo, and we need to have a serious conversation today. Usually, when we speak, we are dissecting the genius of Phil Parkinson, or we are celebrating another clean sheet, or we are marveling at the Hollywood magic that has transformed our club. But today, the tone is different. It is analytical. It is serious. We have received the official verdict regarding a Wrexham AFC star. This isn't a transfer rumour. This isn't an injury update. This is a disciplinary matter that has been looming in the background. A ghost from the past that has finally caught up with the present. The headlines are circulating, and I want us to look at this calmly, without the hysteria, but with a clear understanding of the gravity of the situation. The player in question is Tom O'Connor, our midfielder, the man who has been a pivotal part of the engine room. The news is that Tom O'Connor has been fined for breaches of the FA's betting rules. Now, before you panic, before you start worrying about long-term suspensions or points deductions, take a deep breath. There is a massive but in the story, a crucial detail that changes everything. He has avoided a ban. This is a situation that requires us to look at the fine print. We are talking about a player who is currently away from the racecourse, plying his trade elsewhere on loan. But he remains a Wrexham asset. He remains part of our family. And when the FA comes knocking, the implications are always severe. We have seen what happens at the top level of the Premier League with betting scandals. We know the fear, but today we have clarity. Let's strip away the noise and look at the facts. To understand the verdict, we must first understand the timeline. This is where the context becomes absolutely vital. We are not talking about offences committed while wearing the red dragon on his chest. We are not talking about bets placed while he was fighting for promotion under Phil Parkinson. The investigation looked at a specific window of time. The breaches of the rules took place between the 23rd of April 2017 and the 25th of May 2021. Let's analyze that period. Tom O'Connor was a much younger man. He was developing his game. At that time, he was on the books of Southampton and Gillingham. This is ancient history in football terms, yet the rules have a long memory. The Independent Regulatory Commission found that O'Connor broke the rules by placing 16 bets on football matches during this 4-year period. 16 bets. In the grand scheme of high-profile betting scandals we've seen in the media recently, where players are placing hundreds of thousands of wagers, 16 might seem like a small number, but the FA's rules are binary. You either bet or you don't. Zero tolerance. And here is the detail that usually makes the blood run cold. Of those 16 bets, 5 were placed on competitions involving his own club at the time. That is, the red flag. That is the detail that usually triggers the most severe punishments. When a player bets on a competition their own employer is participating in, questions of integrity immediately rise to the surface. It creates a conflict of interest that the authorities simply cannot ignore. However, we must be precise. These bets happened years before he walked through the doors of the racecourse ground. This is a legacy issue. It is a shadow from his days at St. Mary's and Priestfield Stadium. It is a reminder that in the digital age, nothing stays buried forever, but it is also a reminder that people grow and people change. The Tom O'Connor of 2017 is not necessarily the Tom O'Connor of today. So, what is the damage? What is the cost of these errors in judgment from his past? The Commission has imposed a fine. Tom O'Connor has been ordered to pay £4,200. Now, let's analyze that figure. £4,200. In the world of modern football, where wages are astronomical and transfer fees are in the millions, this might sound like a slap on the wrist, but it is not about the money. It is about the mark on the record. It is about the official warning that comes with it. Why was the punishment financial and not sporting? Why is he now serving a 6-month ban? Why is he now sitting in the stands, unable to train, unable to play? The answer lies in his conduct during the investigation. The FA stated, and I quote directly here, because this is crucial for his reputation. Due to his early admission of guilt and his cooperation with the FA's investigation and disciplinary process, the Commission considered that Mr. O'Connor's conduct does not warrant a sporting sanction. This is the key: honesty. When the charges were put to him, he didn't fight them with expensive lawyers trying to find loopholes. He didn't deny the undeniable. He put his hand up, he admitted the charges, he cooperated, and that maturity, that willingness to accept responsibility for the actions of his younger self has saved his career from a massive interruption. He escaped further punishment. No suspension, no ban from football activities, just a fine and a formal warning. It is a victory for common sense, perhaps, recognizing that dragging up offenses from 2017 and banning a player in the present day, especially when the volume of bets was relatively low, would have been disproportionate. It is a massive relief. If you are a fan of Wrexham or even Peterborough, where he is on loan, you are breathing a sigh of relief right now. Now, let's pause the legal analysis for a moment and remind ourselves of who we are talking about. Let's contextualize Tom O'Connor's standing within the Wrexham narrative, because sometimes, when legal issues arise, we forget the player on the pitch. Tom O'Connor signed for Wrexham from Burton Albion in January 2022. He came in during a critical phase of the project. He has made 96 league appearances for the Reds. That is not a small contribution. That is the backbone of a team. He has been there in the mud. He has been there in the rain. The report highlights something magnificent about his tenure. It states he helped Phil Parkinson's men climb from the National League to the Championship. He was part of that engine room that drove us through the leagues. The grit required to get out of the National League. He had it. The quality needed to survive and thrive in League 2 and push onwards. He provided it. He has been a soldier for the gaffer. Phil Parkinson values reliability. He values players who know their job and do it without fuss. O'Connor has been exactly that. A versatile presence, capable of playing in midfield, or dropping into that back three when needed. His left foot has opened up defenses. His defensive awareness has preserved leads. To think that we could have lost a player of this experience to a retrospective ban is a frightening thought. We are talking about a player who helped secure a record-breaking 3 successive promotions. He is woven into the fabric of this golden era under the Hollywood owners. He isn't just a name on a squad list. He is a protagonist in the documentary of Our Rise. Currently, the narrative of Tom O'Connor has taken a slight detour geographically. He is on loan at Peterborough United, the Posh. He joined the League One side for the 2025-26 season. This adds another layer of complexity to the news. Imagine being Peterborough United. You sign a player on loan, you integrate him into your squad, and suddenly you hear about an FA investigation regarding his time at Gillingham in Southampton. It must have been a tense few weeks for the management as well. But for O'Connor, this loan spell is vital. At 26 years old, he is in the prime of his career. He needs minutes, he needs to be playing at a high level. The fact that he can continue to play for Posh without interruption is the best possible outcome for everyone involved. It allows him to focus on football. It clears the mental fog. Playing with a pending investigation hanging over your head is incredibly difficult. Every tackle, every pass is scrutinized. Now, he is free. He can focus on helping Peterborough, and by extension, maintaining his value and his form for his parent club, Wrexham. He is there to perform. He is there to show that he is a championship-level player, and this verdict allows that journey to continue. The £4,200 fine will be paid, the warning will be heeded, and the boots will be laced up for the next match. That is the professional response. We must also look at the future. This isn't a player whose contract is expiring tomorrow. Tom O'Connor is under contract at the Racecourse until the summer of 2027. That is a long-term commitment. That shows the faith the club has in him. When the owners and Phil Parkinson offered him that deal, they were investing in his prime years. This betting offense, had it resulted in a 6-month or 8-month ban, would have been a disaster for that investment. It would have meant paying wages to a player who couldn't enter the stadium. It would have meant a depreciation of an asset. But the clean sheet mentality applies here too. We have wiped the slate clean. The FA has drawn a line under it. Wrexham AFC does not have to deal with the fallout of a suspended player. We do not have to scramble for a replacement or navigate complex legal appeals. It reinforces the importance of due diligence, but it also reinforces the human element. Players have histories, they have pasts. Sometimes those pasts catch up with them. The fact that O'Connor dealt with this maturely, admitted his fault, and accepted the sanction suggests he is the kind of character we want at the club. He didn't hide, he owned it. As we look towards 2027, we know we have a player who has learned a hard lesson, albeit an expensive one. But he is available, he is eligible, and in the ruthless world of football, availability is the best ability. So there we have it, Red Dragons. The gavel has fallen and the damage is limited. Tom O'Connor has been fined £4,200 for 16 historical bets placed between 2017 and 2021. He has received a warning, but most importantly, he is free to play. No ban, no suspension. The nightmare scenario has been avoided. It is a story of accountability. It is a story of a young man's mistakes in his early career and a mature professional's handling of the consequences. For Wrexham, it is business as usual. The focus remains on the pitch. The focus remains on the climb. The focus remains on the next game. We can close the book on this chapter. The investigation is over. The verdict is official. Tom O'Connor remains a key part of our history and, contractually, our future. I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think the punishment was fair? Are you relieved he avoided a ban? Drop your comments below. Let's keep the debate respectful and passionate. This is the reality of modern football, and we navigate it together. This has been Rodrigo, keeping it visceral, keeping it real, keeping it Wrexham. Until next time, keep the faith.